morning to all. Dear students, I am Dr. Lavanya Kumari, Assistant Professor in Economics in Adikavinana University. Today, we will be going to discuss the topic Education as Consumption or Investment. This is the fourth topic from Unit 1. In introduction, economics is a social science that studies how society chooses to allocate its scarce resource, which have alternative uses to provide goods and services. For economics as a social science, subjects concern itself with making choices and finding alternatives. It studies how society decides what, how, and for whom to produce goods and services. Robbins defined economics as a social science subject that studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses, present and future conjunction. This is the definition according to Robbins. He emphasized the scarcity of resource and the relationship between ends and means, scarce means. So, what is the meaning and scope of economics of education? Economics of education as an area of study cannot be said to be a separate field of inquiry that is totally different from the ordinary economics. Economics of education is the application of economic principles, concepts, laws to the process of education. Economics of education studies human behavior in terms of human decisions, actions, and reactions about schooling. It further looks into how human behavior affects economic development. Economics of education is not one of the branches of ordinary economics, though it is the study of how educational managers make official or approved choices from scarce available resource, which is meant for the realization of the best possible educational outcomes. Economics of education employs the use of some elementary concepts commonly used in labor economics, public sector economics, welfare economics, growth theory, and development economics. World known classical economists like Adam Smith, Alfred Marshall, John Stuart Mill had discussed education and development extensively, advocating for public investment in education. So, by the 1950s, economists have gave attention to issues such as the relationship between education and economic growth, relationship between education and income distribution, and also the financing of education. Economists analyze the production of education in this world where resources such as the capital invested in buildings or technology and the labor of the teacher workforce are necessarily scarce. This scarcity of resource means that policymakers must decide. How to decide means how much to spend on each stage of education, that is, what to produce. A second one is how to produce education services in a way that maximizes its benefits to society, that is, how to produce education. And third one, we should have access to each stage of education, that is, for whom is education provided. These are basic economic problems in our general economics as well as in education of economics. So, there are three decision makers or stakeholders in the educational system. They are first one, the society, the institutions are providers, suppliers of education, and third one, individual or households. Purchase of education services are called households. The twin problem of scarcity and choice face these major stakeholders. The fundamental problem of economics of education is how the society, institution, and the households make use of the limited human and material resource they have to best satisfy their unlimited wants for education. The solution to the fundamental problem requires the application of certain economic concepts. The study of economics of education includes private and social rates of returns of to education, human capital and significant signaling theories of education, non precautionary benefits of education, education and economic development, contribution of education to the economy, measuring educational experience, expenditure, and manpower planning, educational planning, and human resource development, and educational cost, cost analysis, educational production, education effectiveness and efficiency, cost efficiency and effectiveness, cost benefit analysis, and economics of teacher supply, educational and inquiry. These are the study of economics of education. The scope of economics of education is the following discussion. Education as investment. This is the very important question in all the people. Is it investment or consumption? There is a conflict between us. The economic view of education traditionally has employed the human capital framework developed by Becker. In this framework, education is viewed primarily as an investment wherein individuals forego current labor market earnings and incur direct costs in return for higher future wages. The original theoretical work by Baker, then Porath, and others spurred a tremendous amount of empirical work which has generally supported the implications of the human capital model. And individuals and nations increasingly recognize that high levels of knowledge and skills are essential to their future success. Spending on education is increasingly considered as investment into a collective future rather than simply as individual consumption. However, investment in education competes for limited public and private resource. The challenges of expanding educational opportunities while maintaining their quality and ensuring their equitable distribution is linked to question of education finance. Education is seen as an investment because it entails costs in the present and because it increases productive capacity and income of the educated individual to be sure, but also of society in general. In the future, private returns accrue to individuals while social returns accrue to the whole society, including the individuals. In most cases, private returns are greater than social returns because governments give more in subsidies than they take away in taxes. Developed nations around the world investment an average of 6% of their gross domestic product in systems of public schooling. The national importance of education is based on the significant positive influence it has on individual lives and on the welfare of communities. Education is primarily a way to retrain children in the skills they will need as adults to find good jobs and live well. But education also has broader social and economic benefits for individuals, families, and society at large. These benefits are received even by people whose relationship to the public school system does not extend beyond taxpayer. The widespread improvement of social and economic conditions is a direct outcome of an educated population that is able to use information to make good decisions in a better manner and which is collectively trained for work better. In this context, a great deal of recent research demonstrates how the benefits of supporting public education extend far beyond each children individual academic gains. A population that is better educated has less unemployed, reduced dependency on public assistance programs, and greater tax revenue. Education also play a key role in the reduction of crime, improved public health, and greater political and civic engagement. Investment in public education results in billions of rupees of social and economic benefits for society at large. So, education is an initial investment. As the concept of consumption, education as consumption, is it true or not? We will discuss. At the same time, the human capital framework does not rule out that education may also provide immediate consumption. Indeed, many economists have discussed the consumption value of education. Example, Gulch in 1963 identifies current consumption as one of three benefits of education, along with the investment and future consumption. For the most part, however, consumption aspects of education have received relatively little attention in the literature. Several trends suggest that consumption may be becoming an increasingly important part of the choice of whether, where, and how to attend college. And this is the conclusion that education, both consumption, that means it gives a satisfaction for our human immediate human wants, and also investment, that means it produces income to the person or families and society as a large. Economics distinguishes, in addition to physical capital, another form of capital that is no less critical as a means of production, human capital. With investments in human capital, such as education, three major economic effects can be expected. What they are, you can one, increased expenses, as the accumulation of human capital requires investments just as physical capital does. Second one, increased productivity as people gain characteristics that enable them to produce more output and hence. Third one, return on investment in the form of higher incomes. These three major economic effects can be expected from education. Investment in education will give advantage to individuals in terms to get higher and unlimited income level. The higher of education, the higher income can be earned. In fact, education will form an individual with knowledge and skills to improve themselves and in order to develop the state. With a variety of skills and knowledge that obtained from education, individuals will be able to get a job with higher offer salary, or they can build own careers. Thus, who investing more in education to achieve a high level of education will be able to have a better lifestyle with higher household income. So, education can be as consumption and investment. So this is the conclusion. We can learn more information from these three references. We can observe in the same title of other books also. They are available in our central library and online too, and also which are coded in the end of the syllabus. You can refer to get more knowledge from this topic. Out of this, we have to submit an assignment through my mail within 1 week. I give two questions, that is, one, define economics of education, and second one, differentiate between education as consumption as an investment. These two questions we can give assignment as early as possible or within the week. You can ask questions, any questions regarding this topic through your available communication or mail, WhatsApp and mobile call. Thank you watching this video. And again I say, take precautions while you go to outside the home to control the COVID-19. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.